Next, we want to talk about how cells are organized. So after this section, you should be able to distinguish between the structure of prokaryotic cells and that of a eukaryotic cell. You should also be able to identify the roles of the plasma membrane and of the organelles of a cell, and then summarize how eukaryotic cells evolved from prokaryotic cells. So to start off, we're going to talk about how cells are classified into two categories, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells, or prokaryotes, they are ultimately going to lack a nucleus. And we're going to find these these is going to include two groups of bacteria, eubacteria and archaeobacteria. Eukaryotic cells, or the eukaryotes, are ultimately going to have a nucleus. They're going to have a membrane-bound nucleus. This is going to include those four kingdoms that we mentioned in Chapter 1, our ant kingdom Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, and our Protistas. Now, regardless of prokaryotic versus eukaryotic cells, both types of cells are going to have a plasma membrane. That plasma membrane is going to surround the outside of the cell, and it's going to be made of that phospholipid bilayer, which is selectively permeable. That just means that this phospholipid bilayer ultimately regulates what goes into and comes out of the cell. So this is why it matters so much when we talked about that surface area to volume ratio. We care about this because it ultimately is going to be how we exchange nutrients into and out of the cell. Inside of all types of cells, we're going to find the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a semi-fluid substance found inside the cell. It's ultimately going to include all of those organelles if we have a eukaryotic cell. Organelles are those sort of internal compartments with specialized functions in a eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells also have a cytoplasm, even though they do not have distinct membrane-bound organelles. They still have the cytoplasm where they're going to carry out their different metabolic reactions. All right, so I want you to be able to summarize the role of the plasma membrane in a cell and describe the main differences between eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. It's going to come down to the presence of those membrane-bound organelles and that membrane-bound nucleus. So there you go.